We're going to talk about a boil water notice that has been issued for the towns of North Attleborough and Plainville. So we thought apparently we would do a joint press conference and release about this.
We were notified from our laboratory. We did lab analysis of our raw water and our finished water at the Whiting treatment plant on Whiting Street. And the lab notified us, as they're required to, that we had a total coliform hit and an E. coli hit on the raw water coming into the plant. They also confirmed that we had a absent on the finished water coming out, and at that time we were required to contact DEP. My superintendent and Dennis spoke with DEP, and they came up with a plan for a boil water order.
Why is it advisory and not just a full-out ban?
It is. An advisory is not a thing. It is just what they call it. It's a boil water notice, essentially. So all residents of both Plainville and North Attleborough, all businesses, should boil their water until we give notification that our water sampling, which both communities have already resampled this morning, have been tested, analyzed, and approved by the DEP for safe drinking water use.
So who will be most impacted by this?
I believe the communities will be equally impacted by it. Possibly a little bit more North Attleborough than Plainville. We have a larger area, I believe, that uses Whiting Street. But both communities are impacted.
What do you plan to do about it at the moment to fix it, and how can you prevent it from happening again?
Well, this problem occurs primarily due to our wells are out in the woods. We've had a lot of dry spells where a lot of animals may be defecating out in the woods, and it's just sitting there. And then you have a lot of rain events like we have lately. So you just sort of have movement back and forth that can get into the well system on the raw. We periodically chlorinate our wells out in the field, but generally it is the treatment process at the plant that determines whether or not we have clean drinking water. One of the things that we're talking about with our staff and our engineers is possibly creating a longer water main before it reaches the first customer, so we can have more contact time with chlorine before it gets on.
Who is most at risk? Older people, younger people, anyone in particular who's at risk of contracting the E. coli?
As in most cases, those that are particularly vulnerable are the elderly, those who have immune disorders, and infants. But in this case, as long as they're not drinking the water or using it to make formula for the infants, they should be all set.
I would just add to that, just please visit our website here in town for all the directions and information about boiling, how long you need to boil it for, and any special precautions. Feel free to call at the Board of Health and Anne-Marie directly. Just reach out if you have any questions whatsoever.
There are a few customers in the city of Attleborough who are tied into a very limited number of customers. But because of our notification system, there is some bleed over from, especially in the Lindsay area, where there's Attleborough customers on Attleborough water who are receiving notification from North Attleborough just because of proximity. So,
and I just point out, we did receive, a number of our residents received Mansfield's notification when they did theirs as well. So that bleed over happens.
We have jointly established pickup centers where we can distribute a case of water per household to concerned citizens that will need the additional water. We have it set up in Plainville at the DPW site at 29 West Bacon, and we have hours set up to match the hours for North Attleborough so that we are consistent in our approach. And I know that North Attleborough has set up a water distribution situation at
240 Smith Street. That'll be operating today from 3 till 7 p.m. We'll have that organized and set up for vehicles to come in.
There's been no reports of any reported illness and
This would be early, but we have received some calls from concerned citizens, and the message we're trying to get out to people, if they feel that they have been impacted by this and are concerned they could have E. coli, we're recommending that they call their provider and be tested, because there are many other foodborne illnesses and other things that can cause similar symptoms, and we don't want them just to assume it's one thing over another.